published 0128s, the 22nd of November 2017, updated 0444s, the 22nd of November 2017. Mitchell Starc and Pat Cummins have been nastier in the nets than Mitchell Johnson 4 years ago, according to Australian captain Steve Smith. In what read like a last-minute attempt to unsettle England before Thursday's first Ashes test at the Gabba, Smith conjured up the spirit of Johnson, who destroyed England in 201,314 with 37 wickets at under 14 apiece. Johnson is gone now, but the left-arm swing of Starc, the brute pace of Cummins and the unerring accuracy of Josh Hazlewood will present Joe Root's side with a three-pronged problem as they look to secure a sixth England Ashes win out of 8. Steve Smith backed his fast bowlers to repeat Mitchell Johnson's heroics from 201,314. Mitchell Starc left and Pat Cummins right have looked nasty in the nets, says Smith. It's been exciting them bowling in the nets, said Smith. I look back to 201,314, when Mitchell Johnson was in the nets, and these guys are just as nasty, if not more nasty. To be perfectly honest, a couple of net sessions against Cummins and Starc have been quite scary. That's really exciting for us. If a replay of Johnson's video nasty is unlikely, there is little doubting the all-round quality of Australia's seamers. Starc recently took 2 hat-tricks in the same first-class game for New South Wales, and Cummins, though injury-prone, may just be the fastest bowler in the world. As for Hazlewood, Australians are not discouraging comparisons with Glenn McGrath. But England captain Joe Root suggested the trio might not have everything their way. I think they're 3 very talented cricketers, he said. They've done some good stuff for Australia in the past, but for all 3 of them it's their first Ashes series in Australia. I'm sure they'll be feeling the heat. There's been a lot of noise and comparisons made about them, and they've now got to go and try to replicate that. A lot of the guys have played against these fellas before, and know what they're going to bring to the table, Smith said. Facing his bowlers in the nets has been scary at times in the build-up. Starc jokes with Josh Hazlewood right, who many have compared with Glenn McGrath. Australia coach Darren Lehman center chats to Brad Haddin left, and Smith. Starc's Ashes record is a far from his carry 29 wickets at 31 apiece, while Hazlewood was underwhelming on his first tour of England in 2015. Cummins is yet to play in the Ashes. The trick for Smith, though, will be to get the best out of his fast bowlers in an attack lacking the presence of an all-rounder capable of filling in for 10 or 12 overs a day. Asked whether he would use Starc in short bursts, as Michael Clarke did in 201,314 with Johnson, Smith replied, "In an ideal world, yeah, that'll be how I'd like to use him. Back then we had the luxury of someone like Shane Watson, who bowled 15 overs in an innings and kept things really tight and gave those guys that extra rest, so Johnson could come on and do what he did. We've only got 4 frontline bowlers at the moment. At times, I'll try to use them in shorter spells, but they're also comfortable bowling a little bit longer. I know that some of them love to keep on bowling and can be quicker at the back end of their spells." The Australian quicks will be looking to replicate Johnson's left success. Starc right works out with Chad Sayers during the nets session at the Gabba. He expects off-spinner Nathan Lyon to play a big role against England's left-handers, 4 in the top 7. Smith even suggested his own lesser-spotted leg breaks could come into the reckoning as he seeks to give his quicks a breather. The bowlers have been looking forward to this series, he said. It's no secret that these 3 have been on the radar for a very long time. They're fresh and bowling fast, a really exciting time for this team. Meanwhile, Smith insisted that David Warner would be fit to open, despite a stiff neck that has limited his mobility. He's very confident and he'll be right to go. He said he'll even bat like Shivnari and Chandipal if he has to. Australia have called up all-rounder Glenn Maxwell in case Warner is ruled out. David Warner is expected to be fit in time for the first test, recovering from a stiff neck. Tim Payne dives for a catch as the wicket-keeper goes through some drills at the Gabba.